to Wednesday. Nope, no, not Wednesday. Thursday. There we go. Uh, I'm Tim. This is streaming my workouts. I'm gonna be streaming my workouts for a year. It's a body transformation. The thing that's different about this body transformation is that I'm not using any supplements. So that's no protein supplements, no protein shakes, no protein powders, and then no creatine, no pre-workouts. I'm trying to see what I can get uh, out of just eating food, getting all my nutrients from the food that I eat, what that looks like. I'm not opposed to supplements. If you like taking supplements, great. I've taken supplements. I think they do, a good job. I just want to see if I can hit my current workout goals and kind of physically where I want to be without taking a bunch of extra stuff. Um, and secondary reason is that one of my kids started preschool, which is expensive. So cutting out protein saves me about $100 a month, and every little bit helps. It's $1,200 a year. All right, today I'm gonna be knocking out chest. It'll be a lot of fun. Yesterday was leg day. Happy that that's in the past, at least for a week. Tilt this down, get my bench ready. Some people one. Some people. Try to center this a little bit more. There we go. All right. I'm going to start out with 10 pounds, 4.53 kilograms. I know it's getting so warm. I don't need my heater, the little heater I have out here, to blow on me anymore. It's a big change. Not only was yesterday leg day, but I also did my 30-minute run around my neighborhood. I was pretty stoked. I got a lot farther this time than last. And I was faster. I did 3 miles in under 27 minutes. So that was pretty awesome for me. And I made a fairly good dinner last night. I'm excited when I make good, decent homemade meals. I didn't grow up learning how to cook. So definitely like learning how to cook has been a process. And learning to make better and better meals has been something I've been working on. But last night did teriyaki chicken thighs. It was really good. Was it 20 pounds, 9.07 kilograms? What's up, Collins? Morning, Tim. I suppose it is leg day. Oh, man. Well, hopefully you can get after it, man. Leg day is always so much fun. Are you the cook in the house, or do you share the duties? So my wife can cook, but my wife works. Right before, or a year and a half before we had our first child, I started a business, and so when we came time to have a kid, she had all the health benefits, and because I was just starting out in making a business, she was also making like 3 times what I was bringing in. So the thing that made the most sense was for me to stay home and for her to go to work. So because that was never anything I planned on doing, I had to learn a bunch of skills like how to cook. So I do all the cooking during the week, and then on the weekends, if if we don't order something, she cooks, or I'll still cook too. So it's a mix. But no, my wife does cook, but I do 90% of the cooking. The part that's rough about cooking is I just don't have a lot that I know how to cook. So I add things in when I can, but it's hard also to juggle kids and cook. So that's something. It's been getting easier, and figuring out easier dishes. Jay Collins says, so I do all the cooking, she does all the cleaning, laundry, dishes, etc. Unless I decide to help on slow weeks at work. Yeah, my wife does do the laundry on the weekend. So I do laundry during the week, and try to get as much done as I can, but usually on the weekend she does all the laundry. But I do, on the weekend if there's cleaning that has to be done, like she'll help, but I try to keep the house in a clean and organized fashion. If it's not, if the house isn't clean on Friday, like ready for the weekend, something's gone wrong. I hate having a dirty house on the weekend on Friday. So like today is Thursday. I'll be doing a lot of cleaning today. And as the kids have gotten older, it's a lot easier to clean. When you don't have um, little kids, like sorry, not little kids, but babies. Babies make it a lot harder to clean. Partly because you're exhausted from not sleeping. Like right now, I get 6 hours of sleep, and only in this last like 2 weeks have I started getting 6 hours of sleep. Only now has it started to not get interrupted um, once a night or twice a night. It's pretty brutal when you have less than 6 hours of sleep or 5 hours of sleep, but halfway through the night you have to wake up and go change diapers and hold a kid. But I do all of that, so because my wife does the work. Staying home has definitely made me more sympathetic to stay-at-home moms, and then but also like there are some things where I think understanding what it's like for your spouse to be at work all day, if you haven't worked a lot, can be rough. When they come home and they're exhausted and they're not always as super pleasant as you would like them to be when they get home. Because I've worked, like my wife, I've worked 80-hour weeks. I've dealt a lot with people. I know why she's exhausted, and that helps. If I had never had an 80-hour week job, if I'd gone straight from high school to maybe a little bit of college, and then to being a parent and never having worked hard like that, I think I would be less understanding of my wife's days. If that makes sense. Yeah, I can. I feel like I can see both sides better. Like the flip side is, like you hear, like the husband comes home and the house is a mess, and everything seems chaotic, and he's like looking at his wife, and he's like, "What did you do all day? The house is a wreck." And when he says it, what he doesn't realize is that the wife, or in this case me, has cleaned the house like 4 times that day. All the toys, everything's been put away. We've cleaned it. But because there's kids, you turn around for a second and they've destroyed the living room again. So then you put the living room back together. And you've done it 4 times. And you're just exhausted because the 5th time they messed it up, you were back in their rooms, cleaning their rooms. Or you were doing laundry real fast right before they come home. Or you're cooking dinner, and right before they come home, they destroy it again. You don't have a chance to fix it. So then it looks like you didn't do anything all day. It's like, no, I've cleaned this room 5 times. So Colin says, look up crock pot recipes, shepherd's pie, spaghetti, all quick and easy. You usually have leftovers. Yes, the crock pot is a huge, huge advantage. I love the crock pot. And it makes it nice for, like, I like to go take the kids out of the house and go hike or go to the park. And those days, like, the crock pot is a huge hero. Managed to, after leg day yesterday, do my 30-minute run around my neighborhood, Collins, and was able to knock out 3 miles in under 27 minutes, which was nice. So Colin says, I try to cook enough for dinner and lunch the next day for work, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and have some pennies. Yeah, that's solid. I took a mile walk with the dog. That's good, man. Any walks, anytime you're not laying down is good. There's this lady on YouTube I see, and she has a husky, and she's always talking about why she's like not the perfect uh, dog owner and stuff. It's pretty funny, but I see like clips of her walk with her dog, and the husky will either like refuse to move at points, or other points the boyfriend has to like pick up the dog and walk with the dog in his arms because the dog will refuse to move. Pretty funny, pretty funny dog. I don't know if that's inherent in huskies or just some dogs get that way, or my girlfriend's old dog, she had to pick it up near dogs, so it would go crazy on the leash. Off leash, it would be super friendly, or when you pick it up, it's super calm. Yeah. Yeah, there's some dogs Like we were out the other day, and there's this like little dog losing its mind, and I'm looking at it, and I feel like little dogs, if you had them in the wild, would either be running around with a pack. Obviously, they're dogs, but I feel like they'd be like a lot of dogs that like dig holes in the ground and sleep in the ground. I can't think that it's not overwhelming for them to be out in the wild, or sorry, out around humans, and it's so exposed. At least that's my thought. Used to work in a casino on the slot floor, and you have a lot of people that bring in service animals, and some of them, it's hard to not question the validity of the dog being a service dog. Like, what service is this dog providing you besides comfort? But I would look at it and be like, even if this dog is providing you a service, like it's a comfort dog or something, like you're I hope you realize like this is not a fun place for your dog to be. Like, your dog is miserable. There's so much sound, so much light, so much strange smells, so many people walking around. All of the dogs look uncomfortable in there, and frankly, some of them look very scared and stressed. Being in a casino environment, people are screaming randomly or yelling randomly, but people still do it. They love bringing their dogs. Jay Collins says, or they have a little man syndrome. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. Are you because you're 6'1", right? Do you have to deal with a lot of guys with little man syndrome wanting to pick fights with you? What's up, Bowser? Nah, but anytime a dude over the age of 18 has a temper tantrum, 9 times out of 10, he's 5'6". Yeah, I've been fortunate enough not to have little man syndrome ever become a thing for me. I'm not 5'6", I'm 5'9", but definitely not tall. So, but it's never been a problem. I've had a few people try to intimidate me with their size because they were bigger, and I spent most of my life, like I would say, like 99.9% of the fights I've ever been in has been with taller people. I don't usually get in fights with people smaller than me, but a lot of the times there have been situations where bigger guys who aren't, they're just used to throwing their weight around, they'll try to throw their weight around with me, and it's like, nope, that's not happening. And most times in those situations, they, you know, will back down. And I've had people, like, you work with some people and they're bigger and they try to dominate you with your size. And I let them know, like, one, I will fight you, and two, I'll just stab you. you know, you're bigger than me, and if you have a good chance of beating me up in a fight, that doesn't mean I won't stab you. I will just stab you, and only because I'm not looking to fight for fun. I'm not the kind of person that's like, oh, let's go, fight each other for fun. I think fighting can be very dangerous. I'm not inclined to fight for fun. So, you know, the idea of stabbing isn't the idea that you are attacking me. I'm not fighting you. So if you think that you're going to attack me and make me cower because of your size, just know, like, I'm not losing a fight. I'll just stab you. And usually that, in the one guy's case, made him reconsider how he approached me. But that's only happened one time. I've only had to express that sentiment to a much bigger person, like, one time. Like, and he was big. Like, he was, I think, like, I don't know, 6'3", 6'4", and like a hefty 6'3" or 6'4". But I found most, you know, whether someone's big or small, like, most men are respectful and aren't looking for trouble. It's the outliers. But I think my grandpa's like 5'6" or 5'5". When he was younger, I know he picked fights with tall guys. I think he definitely had that little man syndrome. And he was in the Marine Corps and served in Vietnam. And he told a story one time about picking some fight with some guy in the Navy that was over 6 feet tall, just cause he just walked up to the guy and said the guy stepped on his shoe. And the guy had it and didn't obviously apologize for something he didn't do, and so my grandpa went to blows with him. But I think he just had something to prove, regrettably. I don't think it's necessary. Oh, that was bad there. All right. That was first set was 10, that was 7, that's the 60 pounds. 27.21. Move down to 50 pounds now. How's the legs going, Colin? Still alive over there? Collins is knocking out his leg day. See, I prefer putting my leg day on Wednesday. If I put it on Thursday, I feel like the dread of leg day would just keep mounting. Colin says, it's going. Did squats, now on to lunges. Good, man. Mentally, I feel better about working out when leg day is over for the week. When I see that I only have to do chest on Thursday and Friday's back, I feel so much better about leg day than on Wednesday. I've been doing air chairs as well. They are brutal. Yeah, those aren't fun. Those always remind me of what we used to do in wrestling. Something I couldn't imagine trying to do now or how bad it would go. But there was a thing where you would go backwards against the wall and you would crawl down the wall backwards and then back up and back down. It's supposed to help you with arching to avoid the pin and stuff. Now that I think about it, I don't know why it would be helping you avoid the pin, because you would have both shoulders down if you're bridging, but it was all about being able to bridge. That was my least favorite exercise in wrestling. Did you do that, Collins? Because you were a wrestler, right? Did you ever do the crawling down the wall backwards? Never did that. Lots of lunges and 6 inches. I stopped when I was like 12. Now, when you say 6 inches, are you talking about holding your legs 6 inches off the ground? Or you're laying on your back? Yeah, lay on the ground, legs up. Yeah, I remember that. That was fun. The last time I think I did like serious workout and having to deal with 6 inches was I was like 16 or was six, no, I was 15, and I went to this the Marines have this like camp for kids called Devil Pups, and I went there, and you're not supposed to fight, but I got into a fight. Not my fault. I didn't start it. Somebody hit me. Um, but in order to punish us, they made us do 6 inches, flutter kicks, and then make you flip over and do push-ups, and then jump up and run in place, high knees. And they did that to us so there was a giant puddle of sweat underneath my body. And when I went to take a shower afterwards, my arms were so exhausted, I couldn't get them up onto the shower handle. I had to take my other arm and flip it up like that just to turn on the water. That was a very exhausting day. And then the next day we went on this like big hike up into this mountain, and we slept outside. And I don't know if it's just I slept wrong, but when I woke up the next morning, I couldn't get my right arm to bend. It would just stay like stiff. I had to use my other arm to make it bend. Then we had we were doing parade formations that day, and I was I couldn't move my arm, so everyone snaps to salute, and I'm the one guy doing this to salute. And fortunately, when the drill sergeant saw that, he sent me over to the corpsman, who
gave me something. It was like a heavy dose of ibuprofen and then something else. I don't remember what he said. I was like 15, but within like 20 minutes, I could use my arm again. It felt so ridiculous every time. Salute, everyone. It was like being in a comedy. Remind me of something that would happen to like Jerry Lewis. All right, going down to the 40 pounds. Yeah, Devil Pups was a fun camp. It was like they would treat you like you were in boot camp, which my mom and dad were both Marines, so it wasn't a big deal to me. But it was fun watching other kids that may have never been yelled at in their lives freaking out when the drill instructor was like yelling at them. Watch them panic. And to me, it wasn't a big deal. It was like, my mom's been doing this since I was a kid, man. You're not gonna fluster me. And then, and the thing was that you can't hit me. My mom and dad, not that they hit me, but your parents can put their hands on you, but those guys wouldn't. So it's not. It was. I did it for fun. It wasn't for like a scared straight thing for me. For some kids, it may have been a scared straight kind of thing for them, but no, I always wanted to go into the military when I was a kid, and like I'd ask my mom when I was like in elementary school. I saw the movie Taps, which was about like a military academy, and all I wanted to do was go to the military academy. And she said no. I read my like parents' Marine Corps guidebooks when I was like, I think like 8 or 9. It was like one of my favorite things to look at. The most enlightening thing about going there for me was they put you through on one of the days they put you through the first like couple hours of boot camp so you can see what it's like. So you go to MCRD in San Diego and they have you get off the bus and you stand on these yellow circles where all the Marines go when they first get off the bus. And they have on the wall all the codes of conduct. And they read them off. And they're not, to me, there's like, okay, like, these are all easy. Like, and I was like, okay, if I join the Marines, I'll never get in trouble. This is all pretty basic, pretty simple stuff. Like the rules. Then you get to the last like article, and the last one is like a coverall that basically allows you to get in trouble for whatever they want. So if you sneeze, you can get in trouble. If you know, so you're not loud enough, or you're too loud, or your breath stinks. Like there's all these, like it's just a coverall. Like, hey, we can bust you for whatever. And that's when it hit me. I was like, oh, like you're basically a slave when you're in the military because they can, you're at their whim. You can get in trouble for anything. And then later on, I learned things like you can get in trouble if you get hurt and you're not like working, like if you're a Marine and you're off duty and you go and get yourself injured. It's not like a workman's comp or like you can actually lose pay and end up serving time if you get yourself hurt. I'm out of time. I'm gonna have to come in and do some makeup work later. Yeah, I had this friend when I was younger, who was in the Coast Guard, and we went to church together, and we had this like day of fun, like outside of the church, and they had this big giant earth ball for the kids to play with, and when they were done, of course, like us adults wanted to play with it, and he was, we were gonna see which one of us would force the ball down the field against the other one. So one guy, holds the ball, he drops the ball. We ran at it at full speed, and we both went lower on the ball. So when we hit it, and it just slightly bounced up right before we hit it. So the ball shot up into the air, and I on accident, smashed my elbow right into his eye socket here, and ended up denting it, breaking it a little bit. And it was weird because it also did nerve damage when it broke, so it never swelled up. But you could like feel the dents and had to go get x-rayed. And well, because he worked with the Coast Guard, he had to bring paperwork for me to sign to talk about like what happened and why he got hurt. And that was interesting. I felt really bad about it. He ended up getting some like hearing loss somehow from it. This is a weird freak accident. All right, and it sucked too because I really liked him, and there later on I got a car, and he the seatbelt on the car was his old Pontiac Le Mans. The seatbelt strap was on a motor that would bring it back over you when you turned the car on. And the day before I flipped my car, the night, like 10 o'clock at night, he fixed that seatbelt for me. And the next morning at like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, I flipped that car. So if he hadn't fixed that seatbelt, that would have been a lot worse of an accident. So kind of sucks that he like saved me from great bodily injury and I accidentally hurt him. But that happens when you play sports sometimes. All right. Well, thank you very much. Have a good weekend, Collins. Hope your legs feel good, or it's not. Sorry, it's not the weekend yet. It's Thursday. Oh, but God bless you, man. See you later. God bless all y'all.